Good morning, VC. How's it going? Dom here with a quick video, maybe, hopefully, somewhat quick, in response to Alan, Static Traveler's great, thoughtful, and inspiring post about sort of what it means to collect and sort of how you view your collection and what it says about you, and going forward, I think, how we want to collect things and what it means to our future. And that's kind of where I picked up from it. Alan had a lot of great thoughts on this, which I'll link to his video. And just watched Motoric 24/7, Alex's response. And just a little quick side note about this: I'm listening to the Dashiell Hidiat obsolete record. Alex just sent me this VCLT along with another record here. It's a reissue. Really good. I had been sort of aware of this record and looking for it a bit, but hadn't bought it. So this was a great idea, Alex. Thank you. I bought this record from him off his Plastic Oddments Instagram account. There's definitely the surface noise issue. I certainly hear that. I gave it a good VPI, of course, so that didn't really help. But at first it was quite distracting. I was a little concerned, but I got into it, and that's what counts, right? Did I get into a record, and did I feel like I didn't lose focus, or was I absorbed in it? And I was. So this works, Alex. Thank you. And thank you for this obsolete. So we're listening to a little bit of this Dashiell Hidiat. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. So I'm certainly at a crossroads right now with collecting. I am out of room. My house is being, like many of ours, is being taken over by these records, and we love it, right? We love having access to a lot of different types of music for moods, different styles. It's cool to have a library of records, of music to enjoy and appreciate. I don't know that everyone shares that feeling, but my family doesn't really seem to care. Not exactly true. I mean, we all love music, we listen to music a lot, but does it have to be records? No. So I mainly listen to the records. My wife does too, but it's important to me. It's important to me because I do enjoy them as an artifact. I enjoy the music, of course. I look at them, much like Alex said, as art pieces in themselves. The object is an art piece. I'm just grabbing this, but holding this and feeling this and listening to the original document as close as hopefully to the original master, that all kind of works in this beautiful storm of joy. I don't know. I mean, there's just nothing like having records. Now the question is, how many do you need? And can you enjoy and get that same feeling from a few hundred records, not 5,000? I think you can, but it's ultimately up to you and what that means to the individual. For me right now, I am definitely, like I said, at a crossroads. How many of these records do I want to keep? How many do I want to sell? And I will be selling some. I have a lot to sell. Good amount. I'm doing renovations on our house right now. They're redoing our garage roof. That's going to cost some money. Putting out a record. I've paid for that, but I do need to get some money together to sort of like pay that back, because we need that money back in any case. So I am at a crossroads. Why do I have 100 country records? Do I want to listen to country recently? I haven't, but it's cool to have them. Psychedelia. That's going to bring me into my main point here. I'm showing today 10 to 12 records that sort of represent the future of my collecting, with some of Alan's ideas, Chris's ideas, and my own sort of input about what it means. What records do I want to focus on going forward? Am I going to sell all the stuff that doesn't mean that much to me? I don't know. Some of it's going to go, though. I started thinking about this just about less than 2 weeks ago at the record store. Angry Mom. A record came in, a classic psych record that I've been wanting. the Skip Bifferty album, great record on RCA in the UK. It was just like a second UK pressing. Still pretty expensive, still pretty rare. The first is way more rare. Immediately I was like, oh, I need to have that. I'm listening to it, and I'm like, do I need to have this? Like, this is really hitting a lot of the same marks of records I already have. It's a great cover, which I love covers, Alex. I mean, that is a big selling point for me. Do I need this? Really? Like, is this something I still want to seek out? What I started realizing was I ultimately passed on it. And I'm like, I'm not going to see that UK record come through here very often. But I ultimately passed. And I feel fine with that fact. I mean, whatever. I have plenty of other records that do the same thing. But what I'm realizing is, what I'm really looking for in records moving forward is a sense of spirituality, of heart, and genuine quality. I want to hear genuine heart, soul, spirituality in these records. And I'm not necessarily talking about religion. I'm talking about sort of, the nooks and crannies, or the deep aspects of what the musicians are trying to get across. Can you really feel what they're doing? I'm less interested, I guess, in surface level synthetic music. I mean, I guess we would all say this. I don't know. Do I have, synth punk records that I like? Yeah, but I'm looking for that feeling in any kind of music. I hope that makes sense. So these next group of records I'm going to show, I think, for me, are representing that. And these, I think, are sort of represent the future of where I want my collection to go. It's still pretty broad, maybe. Maybe I have more ironing, more, maybe I have more detail to do on this. But I'm going to try to go through these pretty quick. And I really do love this topic. I like really being critical about who we are and what we want and what collectability means to us. Life is crazy. The world is crazy. We get a great escape out of these things, out of music. And I think you just want to have that steady line of like not letting it get out of control, but enjoying and appreciating everything you have. And it's gotten a little out of control lately. Anyway, I'm going to show Donuts, Jay Dilla. Yeah, not what you might expect. Now, I've known this record for a long time. I just last week decided I need to have this record at home. Listened to it a zillion times, but didn't have the record. This is just a regular reissue. Stone's Throw. I mean, he released this 3 days before he died, from a blood disease. And there's just a heart and a spiritual, there's a deep sentiment in this music, and it's all instrumental, it's all beats basically, but I really feel something in this music. I really do. And I just love this cover. I think this isn't even the original cover, but this is an important record. I showed this on Instagram. This is the Eberhard Schoner, Bali Agun. This is like a real mix of ethnic music, minimalism, a little bit of rock, avant-garde, experimental. It's really, Stockhausen was a major influence on this, I think. And Schoner was a German musician. I guess he was using the Moog pretty early on in Europe, from what I read. He has a few other records. This is not expensive. This was like $15, so certainly a good buy. From 1976 on the Horzu label. I bet some of you know this album. There's lots of really cool chanting and some downright scary, like frightening chanting too. But mixed in with sort of just a melting pot of synth work and psychedelia. That's the other thing. I like psychedelia to turn up in ways that are not traditionally in the rock idiom. Stunty talks about this. He talks about stuff being psychedelic that doesn't necessarily come from that sort of bass line. So I hear that in this. Bali Agung, Eberhard Schoner. I don't think I've shown this. Maybe I have. I know others have. Pascal Camelade. This is the from 1982. This is the most recent reissue. Now, just a little bit about reissues and originals. I do find the original does appeal to me, not only for the sound, but also just I want to appreciate the document for what it is. And I think for me, I get the most sort of special feeling, I guess, out of an original pressing, if possible. It just truly hits a sentiment for me that makes sense, that is important.
Every record album, alphabetically by section, shows care and expertise to those who share my genre preference. There's still that holy grail, the painful gap in my collection. You have the common repress, but I really hear the difference, cause that's important to me. That stuff's important to me. At least until I throw that bullshit out and have a baby.
So this isn't one. But, again, the spirit in this record and the sort of quiet and the grace of what Pascal Comlade is doing here just really hits that mark. I'm going to show these next two together because they're both sort of more modern ambient records. The second LaBradford record, and I think this is the second Stars of the Lid. This is an original pressing on Cranky from, I think it's 95. I acquired this in that little collection I bought. It's really on this really bad smoky vinyl, but whatever, it sounds really good. A stable reference. It just it lives in its own world of coming from a sort of indie or more modern perspective, but trying to sort of do what Eno was doing, and just some of the great avant-garde composers. And Stars of the Lid, you should all know, also on Cranky. This is a recent reissue. Just stunning work. 3LP. Just hits me in those spots that I'm looking for. I'm gonna flip this record. Alright, so I've talked a lot about Don Cherry, whether it's via Instagram or a little bit here and there. I'm a bit of a poser with Don Cherry, I'm going to be the first to admit. About a couple of years ago, I had one, maybe two Don Cherry records, and now I've gone sort of crazy. And a lot of that's been inspired by you folks out there. But his perspective, the improvised nature of what he's doing, like anything seems like it could happen. That is all really appealing to me right now. And this is, of course, a very important record with that regard. Organic Music from 1973 with the Milky Cherry design. It was on the Caprice label, the white label version. The artwork, huge to me. I mean, I'll take it out and show the insert, or the inside. I mean, this is just so wonderful. I love all the detail, but even the font and the writing really makes me feel, just gives me joy. And of course, Smokey's sleeve. Some find this garish and maybe, too busy. I think it's wonderful. That's me. I'm sure many of you will agree. Alright. Still listening to the Dachshil Hediat. These two, Saint-Louis Pierre. I just bought these French, or not French pressings, but original African pressings. One is of the Ivory Coast. I think they might both be Ivory Coast. But this is his first album. He's from what is now known as Burkina Faso. A sort of a protest singer, a little bit in the folk mold, but really doing a little bit of synth, a little bit of pop, African pop, and a little bit of high life. Original African press. And it's hard to get African pressings that are going to sound great. These are not clean, really, but they sound pretty good. This is just very organic to me. Speaking of organic, just the songs, and they are constructed in a way that just feels very natural and real to me. There's like really cool ballads on here with some great, very simple keyboards and synthesizers. I think this one might actually be the stronger record. Le Troubadour de la Savane. Saint-Louis Pierre. This is from 1984, a little bit more post-disco, I would say. An Anya Boer reference, or an Anya Boer feeling to what he's doing and how the songs come out. This is is on, I guess it's privately released or self-released on the Kuri label. Again, I just feel a lot of spirit in this music. So here's one record I've been listening to on a loop, and I've been recommending it to everyone. Well, most people, or the people I've been trying to talk to about it. My buddies at the shop, I played it for them, and George and Adam, they both bought this record. Dave, I told might love it because I know he likes Keith Hudson. This is Playing It Cool, Playing It Right from 1981, a reissue on the Basic Replay imprint. Released originally on his own Joint International. I cannot recommend this reggae record enough. It gives you a little bit of everything. Trippy soul, or sort of spacey spiritual soul. Really great dub effects. Incredible, very deep bass. And just a well-crafted record. It just, my first time I heard this, I just like, oh, this is what I need. And so I've been listening to this constantly. This is not a new record to me. Tucker Zimmerman, self-titled album from 1972, an American recording in England. Very light, sort of Farfisa organs, sort of a folk record. I don't know if I showed it before. It's on the Village Thing. Pretty small English label. I'm not doing sound samples of all these. I just don't want to do that another time. But again, it's coming from a genuine place, and I feel his spirit in this. And beautiful songs, beautiful voice. Tucker Zimmerman. I've talked a lot about Flying Nun. I'm wearing a Flying Nun shirt. I'm going to show this Chris Knox album. I think I just made an Instagram post about this. But the artwork, the Flying Nun artwork, and why I think they're so collectible is the inserts, the sleeves. I love, and Chris Knox, I believe, did a lot of his own art. Sleeve on this one's a little bit worn. It's from 1989. Seizure. Flying Nun label. The Flying Nun labels are always very cool. Having this design and feeling what's happening from the artwork, again, is important to me. It's important to me. It's sort of what I'm looking for when I buy original pressings. You know, a unique package, unique sleeve, something that hasn't been reproduced quite the same way. So, one of the big things from coming out of the VC, and I just have gotten so much out of contributing and being a part of it and communicating with everyone, is like just some overlooked things that I didn't really give the time of day, or not give the proper time of day to, at least. And trying things out that I wouldn't have. And the ECM label is a big part of that. These are 3 records that were sort of directly influenced by the VC. I don't know if anyone specifically showed Afternoon with Georgia Fawn by the Marion Brown, or just Marion Brown, not a quartet. But this one is a very moving record, very avant-garde. Alex had shown a copy of this. I forget in what arena, but this one came in used at Angry Mom, and I had to take it home. It's the right kind of jazz record for me, as well. Say Jan Garbarek Quartet, A Freak Pepperbird, with Arnold Anderson, Terz Ripdahl, and John Christensen. It's from 1970. And I believe Stunty showed this. That's when he did the ECM video, and then my friend Nick came over. We had a listening session. This is like one of the first records he told me to go out and grab, and it wasn't expensive, like $30 for this album. I'm sure it was cheaper back in the day. I know. I'm a poser. What can I tell you? This is the German edition of ECM. Love, Julian Priester, Capo Matoto. Really great, repetitive, and wonderful bass playing in this, and I love the way it stretches out, and again, the genuine quality of this. I won't go too deep into the records. I just want to sort of bring some aspects to what I'm feeling is important to me. A couple more. This one may be one of the most influential records right now for me. And again, one that I know that people will know and have shown. Loud Music, Roberto Musci, Italian composer, minimalist. This is the deluxe, the 2 LP edition. He originally released this himself, I think it was in 81 or 82, 1983. This is on the Suave label, Synedelic. This just hits the right notes of, East was an African. This is an African influence on this. I haven't listened to this in a couple of weeks. With minimalism, with a composer's sort of take on what's happening here, and recording these things from in the field recordings, and combining it with more modern techniques, just really it blew me away. And I knew about this before I bought it, but at that time I wasn't sort of seeking these kinds of things out aggressively anyway. Now I'm aggressively looking for them. So I love this. And one more. This is sort of a psych record. Eric. More of a garage, and it's from 1970 as well. A multiracial group, young teenagers. There's a spirituality and a soulfulness in this that I just don't think is there in a lot of psych records. The ballads on this are so strong. There's an innocence to this which I really enjoy. The playing is, sort of amateurish, but not like inept, and I love that line. Like, it's recorded in a way that's sort of like endearing, but it's not like pro. And this is a reissue on the Soft Estate label. You can still get these. They also reissued one of the Sunwoody Pierre records too. Great label. Only have a few records in their catalog, but you can still get these for $15. I love this band. I mean, originals are in the 4 figures, so I will not be doing that. Great gatefold on it. This is Eric. That's all. I really enjoyed critical thinking and deep, thoughts about these records here. I hope I brought some thoughts to the topic that make sense and are meaningful. We'll see where this takes me from here on out. I think the rest of this year will be important for me and crucial in terms of, life changes, rethinking, where I spend my time and money. But it's going to be, I'm always going to be into records and collecting and music, so, I don't anticipate that going away. Anyway, thank you, Alan, for bringing this up and putting this out there. Take care, everybody. I'll talk with you and see you on the YouTubes.